Welcome back to History City. I'm Jack Murphy. Great to have you with us. Sometimes at History City, there's not a lot of big stuff going on, so we like to cover some dumb things that happened in history. We've got a great example of that today. 10 things that happened 10 years ago this week. All right, number 1, Jared from Subway. You know, who would have thought that Jared from Subway was such a perv? I have a little personal experience with this. One time I was working at a radio station, and there was a young lady who worked on this particular show with me at that radio station, and Jared was doing a big tour where he around America. He'd come into the market, and the Subway stores would all have him, and of course they advertised, and she did a little promotion with him, and they rode in the car together, and she came back and told me that Jared got a little handsy with her, and I went, "You're kidding." And then it turns out he turned out to be a big, huge perv, child molester type perv, and is still in prison to this very day. He got busted 10 years ago today at his home in Indiana on July 7th as part of a child pornography investigation. Terrible. All right, 10 years ago on this date, two NFL players lost fingers while playing with fireworks. You always see a lot of these sports celebrities. I remember one time years ago, I lived in New York, and the New York Mets were in the playoffs. They wound up going to the World Series that year, but one of their top pitchers, right at the end of the season, he missed the end of the season, the playoffs, and the World Series because he severely cut his fingers trimming some bushes outside his house. And we all thought, like, how could you be making that much money and be that stupid when we have a chance to go to the World Series? I can't remember the guy's name now, but we were really mad. Anyway, defensive end Jason Pierre-Paul had his right index finger amputated 4 days after a firework mangled his hand. Bucks cornerback C.J. Wilson lost 2 fingers in a fireworks. What kind of fireworks are they shooting? Good grief. All right, number 3. 10 years ago this week, your odds of winning the Powerball jackpot got a lot worse. They added 10 more balls, just what we needed, more balls. They also dropped the number of Powerballs from 35 to 26, but it lowered the odds of hitting the jackpot to 1 in 292 million. Those are the odds. And yet, I still buy a ticket almost a couple of times a week. I don't know about you. All right, number 4. I'll tell you what, I don't know about you, but I wish they would just leave them alone. I don't eat them much anymore, but I swear I love them. I'm talking about the Oreo cookie. But they just keep doing things. The other day, I'm in the store and I saw Post Malone Oreo cookies. I don't even know what that's about. But anyway, 10 years ago today, Oreo Thins made their debut. People made fun of them at first, but they've become pretty popular. I guess because people feel like they're not being as bad eating a thin Oreo as opposed to the thick one. Just leave them alone. They're perfectly fine. 10 years ago, the Women's World Cup final was the most watched soccer match in U.S. history. 26.7 million people tuned in to watch the U.S. beat Japan 5-2. 10 years ago, Meek Mill. I've never heard a single Meek Mill song that I know of. His number 1 album, first time ever, Dreams Worth More Than Money. It became the first platinum song of his career. I'm sorry that got on my list. I would have found something else if I'd known that was there. Number 7, a kid passed his driving test, and then his mom crashed into the DMV. It happened at the DMV in Huntsville, Alabama. She claimed the brakes didn't work, but her son had just passed his test in the same car. Number 8, I'm getting less interested in this list as time goes by. Taylor Swift gave $50,000 to an 11-year-old fan with cancer. Well, that's a nice thing to do. The girl's cancer went into remission a year later, and she graduated high school in 2022. Lucasfilms at number 9 announced a Han Solo spinoff was in the works. Solo came out in 2018, and it made $393 million at the box office.
You in? That's yes.
I might be the only person. Who knows what you really are?
What's that?
And 10 years ago, Minions was a massive hit. The Despicable Me spinoff outgrossed the original, bringing in $336 million. On our next History City short, we're going to look at the top 10 sci-fi shows of all time. So if that interests you, become a subscriber to History City. And if you want to watch a more longer form video with me, come check out my podcast, the Jack Murphy Podcast. It's available on YouTube and everywhere else you get your podcasts. Have a great day.